responsibility and says that they support me in my decisions is A-okay in my book.
Well, it must be working because, you know, the recent events here in our own party where we had the Suffolk County executive that was a Democrat all his life has changed his registration to Republican. And his story was, I'm not leaving my party left me several years ago. So he made the necessary change. And we find, even looking through the enrollment, that many folks are leaving the Democrat Party and are enrolling in the Republican Party. And they seem to be going along with our principles of less government and less taxes, smaller government. And you certainly have been an advocate of that, having almost, and we're going to go into that in a minute, a record of never voting for a tax increase. But some of your colleagues on the legislature say that you did vote for a tax increase by voting for the raise for the DA, the investigator for the DA. Why don't you explain that to our viewing audience?
I'd be glad to, Chairman. I have never voted for a tax increase, nor have I ever voted for a new tax, nor have I ever voted for a pay increase for anybody making over $100,000 a year. That assistant district attorney or the investigator for the DA's office was in the 2010 budget for a pay raise of $40,000. His pay was going from $144,000 to $188,000. I voted against the 2010 budget, but there was a clerical error. The 188 was supposed to say 168. He was only supposed to get a $20,000 raise, which I voted against in the first place. So now if we did not correct that clerical error, he would have gotten a $40,000 raise. So what I essentially did that night was lowered his salary from 188 to 168,
Gotcha.
which is not giving anybody a raise, and that's not voting for a pay increase. But see, Chairman, that's all they have, is trickery. Trying to trick me or trying to use double talk to try to convince people that I have done something against what I say I've done. I'm looking you in the eyes right now, man to man, and telling you I will not do it. And if that's the level they have to stoop to try to trick me into voting for something that they know I don't want to vote for and that I will not vote for, then shame on them. And that's a problem with our local politics. That's a problem with politics in New York.
But do you feel that you might be accused of being irresponsible by never voting for any tax increase? Do you feel that maybe there might be a time when something is on the table that you really have to support?
Glad you asked that question, and I'll give you a great example.
That's why I asked you.
I'll give you a great example. The 30-cent cell phone tax, it's not a lot of money. 30 cents a month, it's not a lot of money. They want to use that money for 911 services. Now that is extremely important. That is a top priority issue. 911 is a top priority issue. My argument is this. We have a $715 million budget. There is no reason in the world that you need to come to the constituents and say you don't have enough money to operate 911. That's unfair, that is wrong, and that is trickery. There are $700,000 allocated to the Department of Tourism, $700,000 allocated to the Department of Human Rights, $250,000 given to the Youth Bureau for youth employment programs, $6 million over the last couple of years given to Nyack Hospital for prenatal care units that's primarily used by illegal immigrants. All of these items are great. They do wonderful work and they're doing a great job, but they are not more important than 911 services. Now in financial situation, in a financial crisis such as the one we are currently in, there is no reason to raise any tax when what you need to be doing is cutting excessive spending and cutting departments. Take $20,000 from tourism, $20,000 from the other department. We give tens of thousands of dollars in contract agencies so they could have dance clubs, so kids could dance. And that's fantastic. I'm not against the arts. But all I'm saying is if you run out of money, you need to prioritize your spending. Spending must be prioritized.
Well, you've gone through the budget. I don't mean
Absolutely.
to interrupt you, but you've gone through the budget. And is there some way, say, for tourism, okay? We need a Department of Tourism. I don't know what kind of tourism we bring into Rockland County, but certainly you feel that there are areas that could be shaved in that particular department alone?
That particular department has 3 employees, 3 people work in that department. These are round numbers, Chairman, because I don't have the numbers in front of me. Approximately $700,000 in local shares. Out of the $700,000, approximately $300,000 goes to those 3 people's salary alone.
The rest is done for what? Mailings, advertising?
Mailings, website, advertising. I cannot see, and I've brought them before committee meetings, and I've researched the department thoroughly. I have not been convinced that that department is mandatory, that that department is necessary. There is no reason for that type of money to be allocated towards that department in a tough financial crisis such as this. That department takes credit for the visitors to the Palisades Mall. When you ask them, how many tourists have you brought into Rockland? They say, oh, millions, because they're counting the people that go to the Palisades Mall and that go to Rockland Lake and our state parks in the summer. Now, those people are going to come here whether or not the tourism department exists. And I'll go one even further, Chairman. I believe that a college intern working for minimum wage could probably operate that department as well as the 3 people working there. And I know that's not going to make me any friends, but that's the truth. I believe that a college intern could do this job just as well, working out of the county exec's office. No reason for a $700,000 allocation in this department.
So there are ways that we can cut to fund the 911 program without raising the cell phone tax.
Chairman, I absolutely believe there are ways to fund this program without raising new taxes. Tough ideas must be proposed. Anybody that runs for office and then gets there and says, oh, sorry, I looked at the budget, there's nothing we can cut, is not doing their job correctly. In this type of atmosphere, we need fiscal responsibility, and tough ideas must be proposed. They're not going to be an easy pill to swallow, but at least they need to be proposed. Try to cut something, try to find excessive spending, and try to do your jobs. That's all I ask from my colleagues.
You have a passion to be a true tax cutter. I admire that in you, Spark. Frank Sparaco, County Legislator, candidate